that girl who had an epiphany yesterday during a channeling, we got to hear how they were explaining those people who are really focused on just that whole love and light. They only want to see things with love and light. I love that, right? We all want to achieve that. We 100% do. But how do we get there? Not just with that fake it until you make it love and light, and I'm just going to distract myself from everything that needs to help me overcome being able to truly, honestly be of love and light. So it seems like, I'm just going to use the first wave volunteers as an example here. They all had this life contract to come down and be love and light, right? To be really high frequency vibrational. They got trained to do that, to be that. And that's fantastic. And then they came down and they realized they were not surrounded in love and light. They actually needed to be the leaders of love and light while still being in very dense 3D lives. And most of the time, it seems from my understanding from experiences with first wave volunteers, they all had something that wasn't love and light given to them, which really sort of emotionally wounded them to not be of love and light in their true frequency vibration, because they were the ones that were supposed to shine love and light to all. And when they had these experiences to overcome, to learn how to truly and honestly embody love and light, they didn't see that these experiences were to empower them. And so they've sort of distracted themselves. They're so focused on being of purpose and service, being love and light, they actually didn't realize they actually had to participate in some experiences to truly and honestly get them to the inner peace of love and light. So it's sort of like them coming in, training to be an Olympic sports person, to win and master love and light. They came in, the universe signed their life contract to be a participant to win at love and light. And yet they came here to start their training to be fully love and light. And yet they did no actual training to strengthen themselves up to be that full, honest love and light. So when you have a life contract and a life purpose and a life mission, we all respect that 100%, but it's not just given. It is not just a given. And a lot of people don't realize that you don't just get given these gifts or these skill sets or this perspective or this true inner peace just being, just is. I know that when many people have sessions and their subconscious says they just need to be here, they're just holding the light. It's really important for them to be here. And so then they interpret it as, I'm all good, I'm all sweet, I don't need to do anything. The reality is we all have to do things to truly and honestly empower ourselves to be of love and light. Can you see the difference between training yourselves and overcoming and empowering yourself and actually having substance and true honesty of love and light? So instead of coming here and just only focusing on the positive, only focusing on fluffy ducks and kittens, and yet the whole place around you is suffering from density, and you can't match that density. You can't help assist people who you need to help assist because you've never experienced or overcome yourself this density, these challenges, because you've never wanted to look at it. So I had a massive epiphany moment when I heard them talking about that in a session. And so, yes, 100%, we're all supposed to be love and light, but how do we get there? It's not just enough about having a life contract saying be love and light. You have to master it. You have to overcome all of the challenges to really, really honestly embody love and light. And it was just such an extraordinary epiphany for me to see. This is why so many people don't want to look at density, don't want to look at their inner work, don't want to look at anything else that may lower their vibrations. And they're finding all these groups of people that are like, oh, we can't think about, starving orphans because that will lower our vibration. That's one perspective. What about respecting those orphans' life contracts, respecting the lessons and experiences those beings want, and instead of having this empathy, heartbreak for them, we can respect that is what the soul needed. And so it's not density when we think about those orphans. We think, okay, that's brave choices, not my choice. But, I respect that. All power to you. All power to you. So I know a lot of people get really hung up and really stressed about the children. What about the children? Okay, yep. Those are fresh new souls that haven't had this density for a long, long, long time. And I remember doing a long time ago a channeling where they said, if we could all just focus on the elderly, because those are the ones who are really suffering, really, really, really suffering. They've been in this density for a really long time. And, they are the ones that need all this compassion, all this love, all this empowerment, all this attention, all this support, because the systems have really eaten into them boldly. And if they are first wave volunteers who have just come to be love and light and suddenly realize there is not much love and light around them, and they're supposed to resonate with this high frequency of love and light, and it's really not anywhere to be found. And this is the key. They were supposed to find it within them. But that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of empowerment. That takes a lot of self-discipline and a lot of self-belief to even get there. And so when you are looking for external empowerment and external acknowledgement and love and light from others around you, you're going to find yourself very lost, very foreign. You're going to feel very, very, very disconnected to your lives. And this is why we saw a lot of the first wave volunteers exiting. No, they were so miserable, so hurt. They couldn't see the lessons. They couldn't see the significances. They couldn't see this was training them to empower themselves to be those love and light beacons of humanity that everyone loves and needs and wants to see. So it's because you came in, because those love and light, because those first wavers came in with an extraordinary big amount of energy fields that they could naturally hold on to, when they're not being of service, when they're not truly honestly having that frequency of love and light, they just collected a whole lot of density, big amounts of density, big. And so they're just sitting there with these big vessels of energy, not embodying their true love and light frequency capacity because they haven't done much of their inner work. They know and feel that they're really special. They know and feel like they're really important, but it irritates them at a soul level because they're not in that right frequency attunement that they're supposed to be in. And so it really bothers them, really, really, really bothers them. And they haven't understood why naturally they couldn't be just full love and light, why they just saw this density and it really irked them and they could really feel the density thick. And ultimately, you're supposed to have released all of that no longer serves you, know how to ground, know how to connect in, and know how to be human in 3D, and master that and empower that. And it seems like a lot of those beings sort of remember certain other lifetimes where they were something really big and special. And so they sort of have this chip on their shoulder that they're not being recognized as big and special and important. And so again, that bottoms out their frequency. They can't be that big love and light beings because they're just not quite truly getting there. And so this is why they say love and respect all life contracts. But we're not just plopped here with all our gifts. We have to earn them so we know how to assist others. We know how to recognize and support others and to see where it's going from them. You cannot train for these lifetimes off planet. And this is why so many people have had life imprints to get you started, to kind of, to start working on this. This is why when we do life regressions, they don't really talk about other lifetimes off planets because it's not quite a correlation unless you're evacuating planets and helping assist with all of that. So It's so significant right now, but I just love that epiphany that I had, because I could really, really, really understand finally what was going on for those people. And so when you are not willing to look at any disasters because you can't see any significance or purpose of that, or lessons or life contracts, you really have to have a spiritual maturity to understand the bigger concepts here, and the bigger principles here, and not be victims. It's amazing. It's so amazing. I am loving hearing people acknowledging to me, regardless of whether they know it or not, how much they just feel so much lighter in their chests from all of this impression and density, and this because when we're not in true honesty, when we're not in true frequency vibrations of love and light, even though we know it's our purpose and we're supposed to drive, we're really keen to drive and work and aim towards that 100%. And so when we think, oh, my life contract is just to be here to be love and light, cool. Again, you have to work to achieve it, to be it. And, just because you have that life contract doesn't mean you have mastered it. So sorry, I feel like I'm repeating myself. It's just so important. It's super important, because if you didn't realize by now, you have your own inner work to master and overcome, to release yourself from, to be then able to hold that higher frequency capacity of positivity, of higher frequency, of love and light. You're really going to be sort of struggling right now, and your teams haven't forgotten about you, and they're going to be wringing you out as that little dish brush cloth. I'm very aware that people who suddenly just start following these sessions and think, what the fuck is a cactus, and what the fuck is a dirty dish rag, and what is a toenail? So anyway, fun times as we're trying to figure out how to master ourselves, and how to empower ourselves the most. Another thing that I was drawn attention to is people trying to sell you Ascension medicine. First of all, you do not want to shortcut your Ascension symptoms. You want to purge and release it, right? Because whatever is within you that's trying to get out, you want it to get out. It is, you cannot, it is almost like, let's just think about this. When you're having Ascension symptoms, it's kind of like, let's just be dramatic here. It's poison that's within you that you're purging out, and it's toxic for you, and you're releasing everything, right? It could be releasing blockages of throat. It could be releasing blockages of mindsets. It could be a whole lot of stuff, right? So if you're trying to pay someone or believe someone to give you Ascension medicine, it's kind of like saying, no, I'm all good with these blockages. I don't want a cleansing. I don't want healing, blah, 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 right? You're wanting to purge out those Ascension symptoms the best way you can. The easiest way is doing your inner work, so you don't actually have the big physical symptoms. But if you can't quite get there because it's other lifetimes of baggage and drama and all that sort of stuff you're completely oblivious to, then it will be a lot of physical Ascension symptoms. All cool. It's not judgment. It doesn't mean you're doing good or bad. It just means you're on your journey and you're stepping up, so celebrate all of those steps, celebrate them all. Do not worry about them. Again, I want to remind people, because it seems like a lot of people again are reaching out to me, or I'm seeing online, sinus, lots of pressure in sinuses. So what do we know about the sinuses, and what do we know about any pressure, right? And especially when it's in your head. What could you possibly assume about that message that your body is trying to tell you? And so when we stop putting too much pressure on ourselves and just accept the things we can do for the people that are in our lives, including ourselves, we can actually sort of get a better balance and not put too much pressure on ourselves. And so when we're overthinking things and we're putting too much pressure on self, we're basically inviting a sinus infection to come and have a cup of tea with us for a long time. So if you are going to want to be sold anything that is an Ascension symptom remedy, water. See how expensive that is. Anyway, So I hope everyone's still working through and listening to that series. And for those practitioners, I would love for you to do your own series like that and just really challenge the system, right? Really go in there and ask, because this is the time to know the bigger truth. And someone said to me yesterday, I don't think that the whole world should hear about or know about the new earth. It would just be chaotic. This would be just a shit show if everyone just suddenly knew about the new earth. That's one perspective. The other perspective is people would get their shit together and realize the things that they're distracting themselves with. They would see that they are part of the corruption systems. They would actually get excited because there is a better, more beautiful way to live and more honesty and harmony. So I don't think it would be a shit show. Actually, I think it would be a really amazing thing that people would, as we do know, when we hear new information, gasp, splutter, shock, and awe, and then you work through it, right? So I don't think that people hearing about the new earth is the worst thing possible. I think people hearing about one world order that is going to come in a certain date and it's going to be, they're trying to kill us all and blah, 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 blah. That sounds horrible. And that sounds really scary. And that sounds, really like we're not in control of this, and our lives are really going to be heavily more and more and more impacted by these negative agendas and blah, 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 blah. That is what is commonly shared. Lots of disinformation, lots of really limited perspectives. And so are people trying to say to me that hearing the truth about the new earth and what the state of this planet is, and what the state of humanity is, are you honestly telling me that hearing the truth is going to be much worse than what we're already hearing? It is time to really think big picture here, people, really big picture here. Understand, is the truth going to be worse than the misinformation and disinformation? So when you're still paying people to tell you about your futures, when you're still paying people to predict what's happening for you in your other lifetimes here with your friends and family, blah, 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 and they're not telling you about this shift to new earth, as you've heard in sessions, you know that that person is limited and has not done enough of the inner work to overcome the nonsense and bullshit that they've been told in this reality, to really be prepared emotionally, maturely, spiritually, bigger perspectives to then be able to hear the bigger truth. Where do you want to spend your money? Interns are free for QHHT, so there would be, an obvious choice. A lot of people are still telling me, I can't get hypnotized, Joe. I can't get hypnotized. Okay, we'll stop that label. That's a really yuck label. Blah. These sessions are about you relaxing so much that you're in the session the entire time. You're not bothered or fazed with the answers because you're so surrendered in, you're so relaxed, you're not focusing and thinking about the questions or the answers, you're surrendering in 100%. You've pushed your ego aside, you are letting your higher self, your subconscious, even Jesus, take the wheel of your vehicle and speak for them. They're using your physical bodies to speak on their behalf. That is how these sessions work. And so if you're still trying to hold on and control, and you're still afraid of the answers, or you're trying to help too much and you're too controlling and it's blah, 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 everyone can have these sessions, every single person. So again, are you afraid of the answers? Are you afraid of the responsibility of these answers that are given to you? I love hearing why people don't want to have sessions, and it's always excuses, and I love that because, at least you're starting to get to the bottom of where your blocks are, why you're afraid. And so it's really significant time. Really is. It is a tremendously significant time. But you also know that we've got some weeks and months ahead of us. For most of us, we absolutely do have still quite some time ahead of us. But then, what do you do with that amount of time? Is there anything you can master within that short time frame? Yes, absolutely, yourself. Master your own inner work and master supporting and loving all those people that are around you. And for those people who don't want to deal with actual 3D people, you've got communities out there that are online that you know you are capable of touching and reaching and empowering and inspiring to do. Oops, sorry. My lipstick. Well, it's my chapstick anyway. So yeah. So yay. I'm not supporting this brand, but I've just discovered iHerb, and so for a little New Zealander, that is really exciting because the shipping's really fast. Anyway, so 3D. So I would love to hear if this was if you noticed this epiphany too, because I think it really helped me clarify again with those love and light people, especially those love and light influencers who don't want to look at the challenging experiences that we've all asked for to overcome. Everything's purposeful, right? Everything. And if, I cannot believe someone would just come in and be love and light without doing any of their inner work and without looking at all of the problems in the world and having a really pure, mature, balance and harmony perspective of it. I just don't know if it's possible. And so lots of people, really struggle with just having acceptance of, these really, those interesting life contracts, because, we empathize. It must be so bloody hard. And yes, absolutely, every life contract is harder than we assumed, but that is the actual beauty of these physical experiences. We get challenged in so many ways. We're unbreakable, and we're all very much able to overcome it and truly, honestly empower ourselves with no shortcuts. So there's that. Okay, so I feel like I've covered that. It's just, they really wanted to spell it out. And it, it is so honestly significant and important to have the end result of love and light, and be that, embodying and having that as a reflection of every experience. But, to get there is quite the journey, isn't it? So, follow your intuition, follow your life contracts, follow your purpose, follow your life missions, and truly embody it. And know we're all winning, we're all getting gold medals at the Olympics, if we want to call it that, for, Earth. But you actually have to practice and warm up and participate in that game. It's all fun, right? And thank goodness we're all together, and that we can all be honest together and share our inner work together, and actually be responsible for our own inner work while we are loving the shit out of ourselves and loving the shit out of others. It is so love and light. Okay, love you guys, honestly, I do, very sincerely, and I want you all to empower yourselves and remember who you are. You are amazing souls in these meat suits, having fun in 3D, because we're here to help humanity. And when we can truly empower ourselves with honest love and light, we're amazing.